Recording started. And here we go.
For the Lord is good, and his mercy endureth forever. Yes, the Lord is good, and his mercy endureth forever, endureth forever, endureth forever.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Lord's mercy does endure forever.
And his mercy endureth forever. And his mercy.
Welcome. You're tuning in to a very special episode of Impacting Life 24/7 with your host, CL King. We came to inspire you tonight. The mercy of the Lord will never, never be exhausted. Johnathan Hodges.
And his mercy. Endureth forever.
Man, if we ever think we can exhaust the mercies of God, we will try for a millennium and never exhaust his mercy.
Nobody greater than the God we serve.
The voice that you're hearing is the voice of our guest, ladies and gentlemen, the great Johnathan Hodges. Come on, his mercy.
It goes on and on and on and on and on. Worship and give you the praise. I shall bless your name for.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as you guys know, Impacting Life 24/7, we seek to do one thing well. We may not can do a lot of things well. Sometimes we fumble the show. Sometimes the sound system doesn't work. Sometimes the computer system shuts down. But the one thing that we want to do well every single time, by intention, is to bring impact to your living room, to your ear pods, to your computer screen. You're going to be impacted tonight by my guest, Johnathan Hodges. Yeah, you know, I'm not going to mess this song up and try to sing with them, ladies and gentlemen. Back in my day, I might have picked up a tune or two, but we're blessed to have in our virtual studios Johnathan Hodges from Smithfield, North Carolina. We spent the last little bit talking, and he is a phenomenal musician, a phenomenal man of God, and a phenomenal human being, ladies and gentlemen. You know, sometimes our folks get caught up on, credentials and pedigree and all the other things that are associated with what we feel are important and what's important in people's lives. But let me just tell you something. This man is an amazing human being. And listen, if you can't be anything, just be good. You know what I mean? You don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to be a aeronautical engineer. You don't have to perform open heart surgery, and you don't have to solve world hunger. Just be a good person. And I have been edified in the last 30 minutes in our pre-show to talk to this young man. I say young. He ain't young. He's well in age. This dear brother from Smithfield, North Carolina, Johnathan Hodges, and he was raised in Smithfield, North Carolina. He was reared and developed and has a cherished and cherishes his spiritual walk with God and a natural walk with people that he contacts. Johnathan was never taught to see color, ethnicity, or even disability. He only saw people and made a conscious decision to love them all equally. Johnathan has an amazing story that we're going to unpack tonight. He's an adoptive father of 5. He also takes care of his elderly mother and his brother. And he's also a author of the book that I have in my hand, The 10-Day Power Journey, Daily Fuel for Those on a Pathway to Purpose. So, man, I'm telling you, in that music that you heard, I just said, wow, we made it almost all the way to the end. That's how you know it's good. If somebody gives me something to play and I can't get past the first 30 seconds, it's bad. But Johnathan Hodges, welcome to Impacting Life 24/7, my brother.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, man. I'm so glad. We had a few scheduling snafus. Listen, I met this man one time. We were in a meeting together, and it was a tent meeting with the great Bonita Bernie Simmons. And he got up to speak, and I said, you know what? I like I'm picking up what that brother's putting down. And it was that quick. It was just like, man, I need to get connected with him. And he gave me a copy of his book, which was a smart thing. And then, we had a scheduling conflict a few times. And I said, listen, Johnathan, can you be on the show tomorrow? He said, let's do it. So here he is. So welcome. And we're very, very thankful for we're very, very thankful for you being here. And Johnathan, let's get started, man, because time flies. So tell us, Johnathan, this is something we do for everybody. Tell us how we can contact Johnathan Hodges.
Well, I do have a website, JonathanHodges.com. I'm also on Facebook, Johnathan Hodges, and also on Instagram, and it's at I am Johnathan Hodges. So all across the board, Johnathan Hodges. Just make sure you put that extra H in my name. My mama and my aunt had a feud about that. So,
okay.
But that's what sets me apart. Yep.
Yes. So you can find him at JonathanHodges.com. JohnathanHodges. JonathanHodges.com. And Greg, just get that in the live chat for us, JonathanHodges.com. And I'd love for you to go connect with him now. An amazing minister of music, a gospel creative artist, as you just heard in our intro. Man, you something if you can make it and override the maestro's intro. I told him that the maestro does our intro for us. And I said, you know what? We're going to put the maestro on the back burner tonight. We're going to play your music. So very, very, very thankful for you, Johnathan. And, here's what I could tell you, folks out there in Impactville, that sometimes you are in the presence of people and you feel better about them. And then there are other times you're in the presence of people and you feel better about yourself. And just the short time that I've been in the presence of Johnathan, he's uplifted my spirits. Like I feel good about the rest of the day. And so, Johnathan, tell us a little bit about you, Johnathan Hodges from Smithfield, North Carolina. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, I was born and raised in Smithfield, North Carolina. I am a plethora of things. So the hashtag used to be hodgepodge because I'm a smorgasbord of things that really don't matter when they're together, when they're separate, but when they're together, they can be very creative and individualistic. I'm a garbage truck driver. I've been doing that for about 6 years now. I am an adoptive father of 5 beautiful children. I take care of my mother, who has dementia, and then I also take care of my brother, who's been winning against this condition they call hydrocephalus all of his life. Let me see, what else? I'm relaunching a podcast really soon called The Gift of Conversation. Have some music out there. I'm a praise and worship leader, have been for the last 15, 16 years. Vocal coach, vocal director. And so, anything God has blessed me to put my hands to, that's basically what I've done. So that's just a little bit in a nutshell.
Yeah, and that's awesome, Johnathan. Again, if you'd like to connect with Johnathan, we ask people to do this all throughout. Man, I wish when I go on shows, they did me like I do them, Johnathan. I'm just telling you.
I know.
All about the promo, baby. They don't understand.
That's right.
The power is in the promo. And so
that's
go
right.
to Johnathan. go to JonathanHodges.com, and you can see it right there in the live chat. Of course, those of you that listen to our podcast, which is carried on 30 different platforms in 46 states and 33 countries, you can look at the show notes and get all the information there. It'll be there, JonathanHodges.com. And Jonathan, when you meet some people and this being a professional, that this elevator speech thing is like a real thing. Like you encounter someone, let's say of import, right? And you only got 35, 45 seconds, to make a connection if you're trying to connect and collaborate with this person. And, the thing about what happened with us is ours was almost as shorter than that, because I was going out the tent. And I said, man, I really like to have you. And he said, man, well, I got something for you. And that was it. Then we went on our separate ways. But the reality is that I believe, Jonathan, that relationships are being expedited because of the times that we're living in. So in other words, what I mean by that, John, is I don't need 52 weeks to get to know you.
That's right. Absolutely.
Right? I believe God is closing those gaps and bringing people together who are supposed to be in one another's life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so when we talk about the great thing that you are doing with those 5 beautiful human beings as an adoptive father, tell us the story about that. How did you adopt 5 children and doing it as a single dad? Tell us how that came about.
Well, it's an open adoption where the parents don't give up their parental rights. So instead of taking the babies from the families, I add myself to the family. But you would think it's the other way around because they're with me most of the time. So I had a goddaughter, had her when she was like 3 months old. I was excited about being a godparent. Her mom was kind of working some things out in her life, and it was one of those things where she went away for a while and left the baby there. And North Carolina stopped recognizing guardianship. So back in the day, you used to be able to take a piece of paper and write, they have permission to do whatever with my baby, blah, blah, blah. They stopped that. So now the next step is called an open adoption, where the parents don't have to give up their parental rights. And so I was frustrated one night, gonna get a baby back. I don't care where this baby go, this baby hollering and crying. I gotta go to work the next day. And my dad was like, no, you're gonna finish what you started. You should have found out what a godparent does. A godparent does what the parents can't or won't do. So that if those parents die that day, you're in charge. This is your baby. And so he was like, you got to get a part-time job. So I ended up forfeiting a full ride scholarship to Winston-Salem State University given by Pastor Shirley Caesar for music because I had to take care of my baby. So that happened. And then it happened with another godchild. And then I ended up getting another godchild. And it just happened. And one day I got baby fever. After my 3 kids, I got baby fever. And I wanted a little girl around the house again, because it had been a while. Because I have a daughter and then 2 sons right behind her. And so I did it, called the agency, and that baby girl came brand new from the hospital. I picked her up, and then about a week later, she came with a 10-month-old brother. Wow. And he's been there ever since. So yeah, I went from 3 to 5 real fast.
Yeah, man, that's
been a blessing.
That's a beautiful thing. I was telling Jonathan in the pre-show as I was getting ready, I was getting suited and booted, y'all. I was telling Jonathan, I said, man, I got 7 kids, but I would pass them kids off to my wife. You deserve a medal of honor because you're doing it as a single fella. And so tell us the ages, break down the ages.
So I have a 17-year-old that'll be 18 in September. It's my oldest daughter, Zari. And then I have Marcus, who just turned 11 last week. And then Jason, who just turned 10 in July. And then there's Trevor, who's 5, and Talon, who's 4.
Taylor, who's 4. And again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you tuning in to Impact Life 24/7, we want to thank you for tuning in and to say hello to my friend. Let me give a shout out to my man out there in Louisiana, my brother David Seth Price, man. Sure love and appreciate you, pastors there in Louisiana. Here's the reality, brother, is that sometimes like who was it that told you, hey, look, you can't just go off and do what you want. You
my dad.
Mm-hmm. Your dad told you, man, and your dad was very wise, wasn't he?
Very, very.
Yeah, and our next generation needs to hear words like that, that sometimes we don't always get to do what we want to do, especially after we've made a commitment.
Absolutely. That's major. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Commitment is powerful, and you are a man of commitment and dedication. Those children are going to be blessed because they have Johnathan Hodges in their life. And if you'd like to connect with my friend Johnathan Hodges, and I'm going to talk about his book here in a little bit, just go to JonathanHodges.com, or you can go on YouTube if you want to catch that song. That song, what was the title of that song again?
Endures Forever.
I was getting there, brother. I just got to get
I'm sorry, I heard you ask.
I got to get the screen up, brother. I got you. Yeah, Endureth Forever. And that's a single by Johnathan Hodges. Amazing, powerful track. And what was the auspices or the inspiration behind writing Endureth Forever?
Well, as praise and worship leader, I found out in doing my research that praise and worship was initially designed to rehearse the word of God. That word have I hid in my heart, but that I might not sin against it. And so every song that I write now is scriptural based. And so I just wanted something simple, something for the church, because I know I'm called to pastors. I'm also called to serve the church. And so with me being called to serve the church, I know that our attention span only lasts about 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Right.
So I wanted something that was simple, something that was easy. So when you're in the bathroom crying your eyeballs out, if you got more bills than money, or if you're in a situation where your heart is just overwhelmed with life, you can sing this song, "For the Lord is good and his mercy endure forever." And I don't know what happens. Well, I do know it's the glory of God that comes in the room when this song is being rehearsed, when the word of God is being rehearsed, that allows you to get to a better place mentally, spiritually, financially, socially. However you need to get better, better will show up.
Right, man. And his mercy is unexhaustible. And we need to hear more about that. You know, there's enough condemnation to go around, isn't there, Jonathan? There's enough beating people down to go around. You don't even, I said this the other night, you don't have to even leave your house to get negativity.
That's right. And sometimes it doesn't have to come from other people. It can come from you. Come from your own thoughts. It's not always the enemy, it's the inner me. And so we got to cast that stuff down.
Did y'all hear what he said? Did y'all hear what he said? Jonathan getting some ratings up in this piece. He said it's not always the inner enemy, it's the inner me. And that is so true, man. That's that we wrestle against ourselves. And so beautiful family, beautiful kids. And now you're doing something that I'm seeing slip in this next generation. I'm not trying to beat up the next generation, but I'm an observer of people. So when I hear of someone doing what you're doing, it really inspires me. You're taking care of your elderly mother, and yes. That's very, very inspiring, because we're seeing, oftentimes they just, our parents, when they reach their sunset years, they kind of get forgotten about. But tell us about mom. Tell us about mom a little bit, Jonathan.
Mom gave me God. Mom has been an extraordinary mother. She was married to my father 45 years before he passed away 11 years ago. And she's cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner as long as I can remember. She still does it. Even in my house, she'll do it. She'll cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and cook biscuits every day with every meal. It don't even matter. What? So, but mom is, she cooks biscuits every day. That lady is outrageous. So, but she's a great woman. The dementia is very slight. We're in the beginning stages of it. So it's like, where are my keys? What did I come to the bank for? So it's small, minute things. And so, but she's a great woman. She's a woman of faith, a woman of prayer. And so I'm just so grateful to have the opportunity to somewhat try to, I can't even, but try to reimburse her for the years that she's sown and how she took care of us. She actually told me, she said, those nursing homes are for people like me. So if you put me in a nursing home, I don't mind. Just don't forget me, because I don't want them to treat me bad and that type thing. But yeah, mom's doing good. And as long as I got the energy in my body, I could be off married somewhere. I could be moving to another state and promoting my career and that type thing. But no, I chose to stay and be with my family.
Wow. Y'all hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Again, JonathanHodges.com. I told him that, sometimes we look at the manifestations of the blessings here on earth, and we attribute blessings to things. But man, what you're doing, Brother Jonathan, is far beyond things, because you're guaranteed a long life when you honor your mother and father. This is the only scripture with promise accordingly. And we had to take y'all to church every now and then to remind you that if you want to live a long life, do what my friend Johnathan Hodges is doing and honor your mother and father. Great man of God. JonathanHodges.com. And so also he has a brother. You have a brother that has a brain condition, and I did a little bit of research on it, and it was exactly what you said. People used to think of it as water on the brain, but what's the actual medical term for it?
Hydrocephalus.
Yeah. And so how is he doing, and how has he always been with you?
Yes, he's actually 10 years older than me. So my first 10 years of my life, we spent a lot of time at UNC hospitals in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, just with the best doctors trying to get the best treatment for him. When he was born, they taught the entire family sign language. I even got a little bit of that because they said he wouldn't talk. They said he wouldn't walk. He walked on his 5th birthday. They said he wouldn't live till 12. He was not going to live to 20. This guy just celebrated his 46th birthday last month. So we just give God all the praise for that. So for 40 years of his life, what they do, hydrocephalus is a condition where the spinal fluid in your body doesn't flow out properly. So they put a shunting system, which is like a shunt, which is like a tubing system, one in his head, one in his heart, and then down in his stomach. And then so whenever he uses the bathroom, all that extra fluid is able to come out. That he had the same shunting system for 40 years, and then it malfunctioned. Started having seizures, eyes was crossing, that fluid was like around his head. It was like his head started to swell. It scared us really, really bad, but we ended up getting it right, getting another shunt put in, and because they weren't expecting him to live that long. So the fact that it happened was really a miracle. So, but he's doing so much better now. He's a great guy. He can change tires, he can change the oil, he can change brakes on your car. He just has a speech impediment. So, but I'm just grateful.
Let's get it, baby, because I can't even change tires. I tell everybody all I am is a speaker. I'm about to give your brother a shout out to help a brother out. Again, I'm blessed you guys are tuning in to the live portion of Impacting Life 24/7. So we want to say hello to everybody. You got quite a few people who admire you, and I knew that in our short interactions together, Jonathan, that you were a man of amazement. And so hello to T out there, David, of course, Markeisha. Marquisa says she loves her cousin, and so I guess you ain't nothing like your cousin.
My cousin.
That's right.
She always supports me.
That's awesome. Hello, Darnell. My cousin Niecy Jordan, who her book is behind me, behind closed doors. She supports me, so I love my cousin. Ain't nothing like a cousin because you could treat them bad and they come back around the next day. You know what I mean? My cousin Niecy calls me Spoonhead, and I call her Kangaroo Face.
Get out of here. We got names like that too. But we're going to keep them off there. We're going to keep the cute them out.
So hello to Cephia and So. Hello, everybody. Yeah, this is Impacting Life 24/7 with your host, CL King, the internationally recognized podcast. So if you'd like to stay connected with us, just go to clkingspeaker.com or go to our podcast, Impacting Life 24/7, wherever you get your podcast. I never, Jonathan, I look over here because I have this huge screen where I see you, but the camera's over there. I should probably move the camera over here one day. Jonathan, I never really realized that one day I would be able to say wherever you get your podcast, because when I first started this podcast, I couldn't give it away.
Right. Yeah, of course.
It was terrible. It's like I couldn't get it on any platforms. And so God has been gracious and merciful. And ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to connect with somebody who has a heart for helping people achieve a better pathway to purpose, then you need to connect to our friend Johnathan Hodges. And it's very simple. If you want to use Facebook, just type in Johnathan Hodges. If you want to go on Instagram, my man is on Instagram at I am Johnathan Hodges. If you'd like to find him at his website, just go to his website, www, for those of you who still need to hear that. The old timers still got to say www.
Right? That's right. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know that it's the World Wide Web, put those 3 W's first, okay?
That's right.
And then Johnathan Hodges, JonathanHodges.com. And what a beautiful spirit this man has, and what his ministry is. And so he wrote a book. And I asked him, the book is called The 10-Day Power Journal. And where can people get this book, Jonathan?
I haven't put a link out for it yet, so they
Okay.
can just reach out to me, and I do shipping and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, just reach out to me, and I'll make sure you get it.
reach out to him, man. I'm doing the same thing with my self-publishing, man. I'm gonna be like E.T. the speaker said he's like he sold his first book like Master P did mixtapes. That's the way I'm doing mine, brother. Yeah, right out the book, baby. So but yeah, just go to JonathanHodges.com. And the 10-day power journal is a journal filled with powerful motivation. It's only 63 pages. And here's one thing that inspired me about this was its clarity, its accuracy, and its brevity.
Wow.
3 things. Its clarity, its accuracy, and its brevity. And I was telling Jonathan, man, I just finished my book. It's at the editor. I'm going to be so brokenhearted when I get it back and find out what a terrible writer I was. But
I doubt that.
when I got this in my hand, I was able to say, hey, man, this is a 10-day journey. This isn't 110 days. This isn't 4,000 days. Jonathan is just helping us say, hey, look, just take the next 10, right? So what was the inspiration for you putting this book together, Jonathan?
Well, I knew I wanted to help some people. This pandemic came as a time of rest for a lot of people who didn't even know they were tired. And I was one of those people going from church service to church service, meeting to meeting, Zoom call to Zoom call, family reunion to family function. It didn't matter, but it was so much that I had to do. And so when we were quarantined and I literally had to sit with myself and sit with my thoughts, God let me know during prayer that I was not alone, that the things that I had gone through, they weren't just by happenstance, but it was supposed to help someone else detour where I crashed. So as I was talking to my photographer and trying to get my website together, he said, well, I just wrote like 10 sentences down, real small, just to motivate the people who visit the website, and we'll change them out every 3 months. And so I wrote about 10 of them, well, about 5 or 6 of them down. And I was like, oh, I need some more. I'm out of stuff to, write because I wanted to keep it going. And so then I thought about how I did my Monday or morning motivations on Facebook. And it was just small clips to say, hey, you got this, keep going. And all of them had a different theme. So I just transcribed all the videos and put them straight into the book to help with the rest of the 10 days. So that's actually how it came. But I just really wanted to give somebody a better pathway because we're all going through something. We're all dealing with stuff. And this stuff that's real life that we don't really talk about sometimes needs to be talked about. So that was the inspiration.
And he just takes you through 10 days. I was looking at day number 2 today, and day number 2 talks about it's never too late. To everything there is a season, a time, a place under heaven. That's in Ecclesiastes 3:1. But one of the things that I really liked about it was just a short little devotion, 1.5 pages. But the questions at the end of this journal provoke you to think. This question says, if there were one thing you could do and you knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do? How would this change your life? I'm going to ask that question to everybody watching. I want you to type it in the chat, brother. We get them going, Jonathan.
Oh, wow.
If there was one thing,
I can't wait to hear the responses.
This is from our friend, Johnathan Hodges. Find him at JonathanHodges.com. He says this in his book, The 10-Day Power Journal. If there were one thing you could do, one thing, and you knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do? How would this change your life? Go ahead and type that in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, for our live audience. And for those of you that would like to respond to that, just reach out to JonathanHodges.com and send him your response. If the show is already over and you're listening to this podcast, we would still like to get, because our podcast audience is actually 90,000 times bigger than our live audience. So and I told Jonathan, we only do live so that way we do it right the first time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
We don't pre-record, y'all. We do it. We gonna get it on the first cut, or we ain't doing it. And so again, Jonathan,
that's right.
He says he's in this book. He says, if there was one thing you could do, and you knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do? How would this change your life? Some people would say, quit my job. right,
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan? Some people will say,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna quit my
That's right.
job and go do what God told me to do. Some people
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm gonna start a business that I've been having in my heart for years. Some people say,
Yes.
I'm gonna raise a family. Whatever the case may be. When you think about it from that perspective of if there was one thing that you could do. So I would like for y'all, before we run out of time, type it in the chat quickly. If there were one thing that you could do and you knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do, and how would this change your life? And then he goes on to the day number 3. He talks about attracting better. Tell us about attracting better, Jonathan.
Well, one of the parts of the law of gravity says that law of attraction, excuse me, says that you attract things that you are harmoniously in vibration with. And so I'm a firm believer. Even on the derogatory side of that, I have a couple of cousins who had problems with drug habits. And no matter where they went, they always found somebody who had that same habit. So birds of a feather flock together because there's like a gravitational pull that brings you together. So if you want to attract better, you got to raise your capital. You got to raise the capital in your mind, raise the capital in whatever area you feel like you can get better in, and then you'll attract better. So when you do better, you know better, you do better. And so, yeah, it's just a matter of making sure that your mind is in the right place to attract that better. If you're always thinking about negative thoughts, that's why I can't watch horror movies, because I'm such a creative. My mind is always running, always going, and I can watch that movie in the middle of the day, still sunlight after we get out of the movies, and still go home and have a nightmare about it because my mind is always working. So I have to make sure that my mind is in a good place, a good steady place, and that I, spend time with God, read my scriptures, hang out with family, do all the things that cause balance to come, and I will better.
So yeah, and that you're hitting the nail on the head, Jonathan, and you got some responses here. Markeisha says that she would start her own business. Greg says that he will become a pilot so he could fly me around. Y'all know Greg is the VP of our company. We have Greg.
I know that's right.
Let me see here. Someone says that's a good. Matthew Floyd says that's a good question. I don't even know how to answer that. So think about that. And when you wrote this book and this journal, it really is just like getting people to think like, hey man, if you really want to go to that pathway of purpose, then you've got to be intentional with it. I love what you said about the law of attraction, because once a month, Greg and I go into the county jail and speak to the residents there every month.
Okay.
Right? We partnered with the sheriff, and we do that. We go in to provide motivational moments. And here's what I told him the last time I was there. I said, if you get out of here and you go back to the same behaviors, the same connections, the same habits, you will be back here before the next sunrise.
Absolutely.
You have to be intentional about this whole journey in life. You got to be intentional, not just haphazard. And so, Jonathan, you have really, we got to have you back, brother, because like I said,
absolutely,
I gave you some bonus innings today, if you notice, because time flies when you're having fun and when you're dealing with somebody so amazing. So Johnathan Hodges from Smithfield, North Carolina, vocal coach, music minister, songwriter. Go check out his song Endureth Forever. And I think Endureth Forever is going to be a chart-topping song because it lasts.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
It lasts forever. When we're talking about God's mercy. Now, Jonathan, what I'm going to do is, before I let you go, I'd like for you to talk to our audience out there. Okay? I'm going to give you 45 seconds. Preachers get long-winded. I'm going to give you 45 seconds. I want you to speak to them, whatever the Lord puts on your heart, but leave them with a word of encouragement. The floor is yours. Take it.
Okay. Well, listen, it's not too late. You have the power. When you go into a grocery store, the grocery store has different products that have expiration dates on it, but your purpose does not. It's never too late to do something that you thought you could do. You just have to cast down fear. The Bible says, casting down every imagination of the devil that presents itself. What is an imagination? It's a nation of images. Imagination. It's a nation of images that are built in our psyche, built in our hearts, and we take it as Bible and final court of appeal. But you don't have to accept what you presented. You've been presented, and you can be your greatest you. that you could ever be. You just have to do like CL King says and be intentional about making sure that you're good so that you can be good for everybody else.
Oh, that's powerful. Again, ladies and gentlemen, our guest and soon to return guest, Johnathan Hodges. You can find him at JonathanHodges.com on all social media platforms, and also get his single and his release, which is called Endureth Forever, by the great minister of music and vocal coach there in Smithfield, North Carolina. Father of 5, honoring his mother, helping his brother, doing the work of the Lord, the great Johnathan Hodges. Johnathan, we thank you so much for being on the show tonight, brother. We look forward to more collaborations in the future.
Thank you for having me. Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. God bless you, man.
Bless you.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us for Impacting Life 24/7. Just like that. It's done. And that was a fast 30 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he can flat out sing, Greg. Yes, you can find that right on YouTube. Just for Endureth Forever. Oh. I actually got a compliment on it tonight. And so, ladies and gentlemen, again, Johnathan Hodges, get his book, the 10-Day Power Journal. Got it right here. You can go get it at JonathanHodges.com. Reach out to him, and he'll deliver it to you. Great man, doing the work of the Lord, ministering to kids, taking kids in. Good to see you there, co-host. Got to get you out the shadows, dust off your microphone. Come on with us. I'm off for the rest of the week, ladies and gentlemen. My granddaughter, our oldest granddaughter is here, Tatiana, so you'll probably see that on social media. We're closing the studios down here, unless, of course, Mike wants to host the show by himself. And we bless you. We thank you. Thank you to our entire staff. Listen, if you'd like to become a sponsor of Impacting Life 24/7, to do things like this, ladies and gentlemen, it is not free. Of course, our guests come on for free, but the infrastructure, the programming, the equipment, it costs money every single month for us to provide the high quality that you've seen tonight. Just go to clkingspeaker.com, scroll down to the bottom, and you can become a sponsor for $1, $5, $15, or $100 if you want. Just continue to sponsor. But we truly do appreciate those that connect with us in sponsorship, because we bring to you every night the doors that are open to the cathedral of resources here at Impacting Life 24/7. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you again next week, Monday night, next Monday at 7 o'clock p.m.
All right, I'm standing